birthday, dear Julian.
Julian was like a wise soul that no one was ready for. He didn't quite know what to do with his unique gifts.
No cameras, please. I don't want to be famous, Mom.
Which led him to live a self-destructive life. But a beautiful one, too. Because you can never take the beauty and gifts away from anyone.
I would not want to be anybody else in this lifetime other than Paris Nicole St. John, Julian's sister.
Oh. Okay, all right, grasshopper. Good game, baby, good game. You all right, kid? You all right, Julian?
He was the love of my life. He was the light of my life. He was everything to me. And he was just so funny, always a very eccentric, very deep thinker, very insightful. When Julian was growing up, I always knew that there was something just a little bit different. He just seemed depressed. He would get upset a lot, sometimes really insecure. And as he got older, we started noticing more and more. He was in and out of doctors, getting tested all the time. Tried this med, tried that med, and could be this, could be that. We tried everything. The most common symptom of mental illness is self-medication with narcotics. And he was about 15 years old and started doing drugs to self-medicate with problems that he was having mentally. My son had his first psychotic break at 17 years old. It was the most frightening thing I'd witnessed because I knew about schizophrenia, and then he was diagnosed with it later on.
Tell me about your music and your art.
It's good.
Julian was a street artist, and he was just very emotional, and all of his feelings would go down on the canvas. And he didn't talk a lot, so whenever I wanted to know what he was thinking or feeling, I would go in the garage and look at all of his canvases. He would draw or paint in the park bathroom, and I would follow him and I would pick him up one by one. And I took him to a gallery one day, and the owner was just blown away by his work. And he wanted to do a one-man show with him at the Laguna Gallery of Contemporary Art. And that was the start of his basically his art career.
Tell me, what's it like to have such a spectacular family?
Ask me a good question.
What?
Ask me a good question.
Okay, like what?
Who's this for? Are you gonna tell me that I get high? I get really high. Crystal meth.
Julian.
I mean, whenever he talked about his drug use, he would joke about it, but I knew how serious it was, and as a parent, it breaks your heart. I did everything I could to get him sober, to get him help, and never gave up on him. I reached out for help to private doctors, doctors from LA County Department of Mental Health, and I realized that nobody really knew anything. And he was 5150 many times throughout his young adulthood. A 5150 is a 72-hour hold. So you're basically taken against your will into a mental health facility. I finally had to go to court and fight for conservatorship, and it was just difficult because I watched them bring my son out from the holding cell, and he was shackled. This is how we treat people with mental health issues in this country. We shackle them. The 72-hour holds, the 5150s, they're not trying to keep anybody. They want to release these patients as soon as possible. They don't care whether they're still in psychosis. They just want them out. So whether they have to put them out on the street, half naked, that's okay. You know, it's called dumping, and they do it a lot. And that's how I would find my son.
Julian.
Half naked in a park somewhere on the streets, barefoot, not even coherent. When I would find him, like, I would have this feeling of like, thank God.
Julian, you gotta come home. All right, come on.
So when I put him in a facility, it was strictly to get him back on his meds. LA County Department of Mental Health had him placed in one of their mental health facilities that they contract with. I got a message from the doctor, and the doctor was saying that he was doing well. So we had our hopes up.
Hope all was well. Had some positive news to report. Julian has turned a bit of a corner the last few days, much brighter and out of his room. He's walking around the unit, interacting with the other patients, and he showed me one of his newer art projects today as well. So I was very, very happy to see he's coming around a bit. He did put in a request for a Thanksgiving pass for 2 hours. We're holding off on that. We want to observe him for some more time just because of his history. But, we did want to give you an update that, he's looking a little better.
The day that the whole family got the call that he was gone, those were my mom's words. She was just screaming. She just said, "It's Julian. He's gone."
Well, it was Sunday, November 23rd, 2014, and I called him to see how he was doing. And I could tell that he wasn't okay. I was the last person to talk to my son. When he hung up the payphone, he walked into his room. Minutes later, his roommate walks in, shuts the door. We see the roommate walking out, shutting the door, going to the payphone, taking the phone off the hook, and walking away. And from there, we just don't know what happened. Days before, my son was telling me and his father that his roommate was going to kill him. We did alert the staff. We looked at the medical records and things weren't adding up because the checks were still being checked off hours after my son had already been pronounced deceased. So that's when we knew that they had falsified the records. Department of Healthcare Services, when I sent them my complaint and asked them to look at the footage, they went back to investigate and came back with their decision that they were negligent, that they had missed checks and had falsified the records. The police report said that my son died by suicide. According to the autopsy report and from what I saw, he did have bruising on his face, on his nose, and above his eye area. It looked like he had been in a fight. They see this all the time in Long Beach, Compton, so they're not given the proper investigation. I just want to know the truth. And all I could think was like, I watched that child come into this earth, come into this world, you know. And I should have been there when he left.
So look how beautiful this is. This is Mono Lake. And I took Julian's ashes here.
Julian didn't get a chance to live out his full life, but I believe he still lives, and he aches to be heard. His story gets to live through his loved ones. His death teaches us that our life is a gift, and we have to find a way to make the most of who we are while we still have it.
LA County Department of Mental Health and California Department of Healthcare Services and the LA County Board of Supervisors. I think that they think I'm going to get tired of going to the hearings. The Department of Mental Health is responsible for my son's death. I'm going to get tired of going to the media. That is my mission for the rest of my life until I feel that my child has justice. And not just my child, but all the other children that have died in these facilities. And that's all that matters to me. I'm never going to quit.
Give me another one here.
I want to change the entire mental health system, to start caring about people that have these mental illnesses, just like any other illness, and for the discrimination to stop, the stigma to stop, and for people to learn about these illnesses and become educated and know that these kids matter. But I'm going to make sure that someone cares, because I'm going to stay on their ass every single day for the rest of my life until I am no longer breathing. And that's all that matters to me. That is all that matters, is getting justice